This NFL Picks Week 12 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sports book available in 45 states. Download the Rebet app and use promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey everybody, Jim McMahon here, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan. Real money Kramer. What's happening, Cram?
Dog.
How's it going, Sean?
Going pretty good. Happy Italian week.
What
happy
do you mean?
feast week.
I gotta say, a little disappointed in the world right now.
Why? Why is that, Ryan?
A lot of just going right back to the same old. Let's just horribly racist comments about Italians. Assume that he's into cutlets. Like we're just going right back down that.
So hey, Tommy Cutlets isn't into cutlets.
I will say, very funny off-season.
I mean, also like he can't lean into it and then get offended by it. You can't do both.
No, but also, how is he not going to lean into it? I mean,
yeah. Well, also he is really Italian. He likes being Italian. He loves cutlets.
Well,
I mean, have you seen his
of
family? It's like a parody.
Well, that's the thing. You know, a lot of times maybe your parents embarrassed. I could see maybe his dad's embarrassed. I agree with you. He leaned into it, but there was a funny off-season piece where he did articulate his love of sushi. So,
oh, there you go.
They just roll out these like they're low bar.
Well, I mean,
do nothing more.
The comparison is when Jeremy Lin became a sensation, kind of similar comparison, had a few good games. People were really embracing Jeremy Lin's ethnicity. It was bringing a lot of people to celebrate their ethnicity and that he was doing well.
They weren't calling him Jeremy Fried Rice.
No,
I mean, come on, Sean.
That's my point. I'm saying here is your angle. When Jeremy Lin wasn't balling out, they weren't going Jeremy Orange Chicken Lin. They weren't doing that to him. They were, in fact, one guy really got in trouble for using a phrase that was he clearly I think meant it in a like he was using a phrase that happens to have a word in it that you wouldn't use.
Rhymes with think.
Yeah, that he was discussing about an armor.
Could armor have?
And he got fired. I really don't think he was, and maybe he was. I don't know the guy, but
well, that was pre-woke. We're now post-woke.
It does seem like that. Well, certainly Italians, and CJ says it all the time. They're the last group that we can have fun with.
And the Irish, he says.
Yeah,
the Italians and the Irish.
Yeah, I mean, if there was an Irish,
by the way, they were living in the same back in the day. They were living in the same ghettos as some of these other people. It's anyway. It's a confusing message to push to everyone. Only make movies about how they're criminals. It's unbelievable.
Terrell, host on the NBA Gambling Podcast, saying you guys would be surprised what they actually say. So
what does that mean?
I don't know.
Who's that?
Maybe he's
Is this a Colby situation? Do you have the phone number, Terrell?
Garza Empire saying Mob made the call. Put in DeVito. I just imagine Brian Dable, that scene in Goodfellas where they're like, yeah, we got rid of Danny Dimes. He's no more. And and Tommy DeVito starting, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's what's done is done. And Brian Dable's just slamming the. Do we want to discuss the controversy surrounding around Drew Lock, who was the expected number 2 quarterback? Then out of nowhere, Tommy DeVito, the Paisan.
I would say
is the second quarterback job on for the Giants or the third quarterback job? Is it a no-show job? Is it has the mob gotten that deep, Brian?
It could be. I mean, you haven't mentioned Tim Boyle yet. He was signed to the practice squad to ensure that Danny Dimes would sleep with the fishes once and for all. Look,
Drew Lock said he was confused. He thought he was QB too. Imagine not even getting a shot to start over Tommy DeVito. Imagine that.
All right, so let's workshop. Let's workshop it.
You got $5 million for free, Drew Lock, I guess.
So I find it very interesting how many people are like hyper focused on this one. Two, the contract is a small we need to stop focusing on the contract. We need to stop focusing on the random contract incentives, which, by the way, I think Spot Track put it out, and then over the cap, like the other cap, like they were clowning them because of how stupid of a post it was. I don't understand why everyone's so focused on this.
Because it's really funny.
Think about the scenario.
Yes.
Dable's job's on the line.
Okay.
You're not starting Daniel Jones anymore because we don't want this 3rd year guarantee to kick in.
No,
who do you want to? Who do you want to start? Who do you want to start?
I think to me that's the part not enough people are talking about. Everyone goes, "Oh, they don't want to put Daniel Jones out there because they might have to pay the injury guarantee." What about the fact that he sucked? He was horrible against the Carolina Panthers. He was very bad. If Daniel Jones,
because there's this weird. This has happened before with Daniel Jones. There's a weird need for the media. That's why I said he would win comeback player of the year. If there's a weird need for the media,
why
to
do they
sympathize
protect this guy
with him? Because he's been the same reason that one, opinion of maybe one player that Jordan Schultz was citing that basically is like, hey, he was a stand-up guy with his teammates. It's the nice guy syndrome, Sean.
Yeah.
What happens? You got a guy at your workplace. The only thing or the first thing you can say about him is he's a nice guy. He probably sucks at his job. And that's a reality. And I think at the end of the day, teams have a backup quarterback that the second the starter goes down, things change immediately. And so the idea that when Dable faced with the question of, well, I'm not playing Daniel Jones the rest of the year, what's the scenario? Well, I'm going to go with Tommy DeVito. He's been in the system longer. And then also from an ownership or from an aesthetic standpoint, what better way to soften the blow as you lose games down the stretch, hopefully getting a number 1 overall pick? Have the kid from Jersey be starting the games. Like, who gives a shit about the outcome? If so, I think Dable actually believes this gives him the best shot.
Okay.
I think
but is Dable making this decision?
If his job's on the line, how is he not making this decision?
Well, if his job was on the line, wouldn't he still want Daniel Jones?
I think the front office has taken that out of Dable's.
Okay, hands. So it is a front office decision,
not the Tommy DeVito piece.
Okay,
so the front Daniel office Jones is no longer available.
The front office said you can't start Daniel Jones, you can start Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito, and he went Tommy DeVito.
I think so.
Right.
I mean, again, how would play it? What's the other scenario?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have signed Drew Lock to begin with.
Well, again, that's not relevant in the current.
No, but
state.
also too, I thought if Tommy DeVito was my better quarterback, I would have him as number 2 the entire season. I think that's where people get weird.
I don't think that's a big deal. I think that happens all the time. Right. I think we see that exact scenario play out all the time.
As Cousin Mush is pointing out, this is a lot of talk for a shitty team.
I agree. Sean wanted to talk about it. He said, no, you want to address it.
I said, I mean, we have to talk about it. You said you threatened that you were going to be very Italian this week.
Oh, I feel great.
Okay.
I mean, way too much of an adjustment to go down to Tommy DeVito in a situation where he's playing in Jersey. Come on. Come on, Sean.
We'll get to that game shortly.
Forget about it.
Coming off a really pretty good week overall. ATS 3-2 in the Circa Million. I was 9-5. You were 8-6. Not great with the locks. Your lock streak, your lock heater came to an end. I keep dancing around with the 1-1 on my locks, but we both hit our money line dogs. Yeah, nice week for me gambling. Felt pretty good sides. And the Colts money line was really the nice like ice. If I wouldn't have hit that, I still would have been up. But that was a nice cash. hit some underdog entries. It was a good week. And then Will Dissly, first touchdown Sunday Night Football, nice icing on the cake. Ryan right into his mega cash 150 to 1. I was
going to say, if
Houston Texans.
You don't listen to the recap show. It was.
You miss Ryan's D-Gens only.
We also
I'm a degenerate.
We also talked about Sean using the calculator before the show to figure out how much money he had won. So things. I guess a positive week. Went 0-2 in the locks though. So that felt
rare
bad.
for you. You've been doing very well against the locks.
I mean, in hindsight, what am I going to do different? Great rest disparity game with Cleveland.
Yeah.
And all right, I'm sorry. Kansas City is a dog.
And
sorry, not sorry.
I think Darren Rizzi might be in the category of who's Rich Bisaccia, where like there are those interim coaches that come in. Antonio Pierce last year, where they come in with the hardo attitude, and it actually does work, and they go on a mini bit of run. We'll see, but certainly the effort on the field in that game was pretty different between the two teams, and good transition to the Thursday night game, because that Browns team looked like it laid down Sunday.
I thought you were gonna when you brought up Rich Bisaccia, I thought you were talking about great Italian Americans.
Well, he's Ryan. He might win Italian American of the Month if Green Bay, they blocked the field goal last week. I know you're not you're a Packers backer. We had the Bears and the points, so it didn't really matter. But Rich Bisaccia, I mean, he drew up that field goal block, Ryan, to win the game.
Rich Bisaccia is on the list so far.
Potential.
There's gonna be. I mean, this Sunday there's gonna be someone's gonna be walking home very happy. But Rizzi's still on the list. I think the award can be given out twice in a row, or twice in non-consecutive weeks. Tommy DeVito, of course, on the list. Every member of Tommy DeVito's family, including agent Sean Stellano, who, by the way, is interfacing with me on X, multiple likes now. Big fan of the Italian flag emoji, followed by the American flag emoji and the hand emoji. He speaks the same language. Kurt Signetti, of course, another great Italian American.
He's in the mix.
Rick Pitino on the list, just random. Basketball's back. I mean, this is a very long. Cousin Mush could be on the list. Who knows?
Cousin Mush said he's fine with the Italian talk, but too much Giants talk.
Okay,
according to the chat. But let's talk about Thursday night. Good matchup, AFC North. What are we doing?
It's a great matchup, Sean. And I was actually earlier watching the promo for the in-season Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah,
some
pretty interesting.
Going to get some very interesting behind the scenes in this division. Going to be fun. The Steelers, our Steelers, who, by the way, Sean, I don't know if you've seen this. They actually are in the lead in the division. It's wild. This wild and we should.
Who could have seen that coming?
Point out, Mike,
except us, baby.
We should.
And Ryan, we went back and started looking at some of our win total locks from the preview season, and we both, I'm pretty sure, locked up the Steelers.
We did.
And when we picked it, it was actually 7.5. So we've already cashed the over.
But even if it's 8.5, he's one win away from that. So,
and I'm pretty sure the Broncos were one of my other win total locks. I've cashed that over 5.5.
Nope, we're just somehow we got on Bo Nix. We're talking Thursday Night Football.
All I mentioned is just Bo Nix. There's a guy who in the YouTube chat who loves Bo Nix and Shed Powder. He's been very active, reaching out to me.
So back to Thursday Night Football, featuring the Steelers and the Browns. Steelers are laying 3.5. Sean, minus 185 on the money line. Browns plus 163. 37 is the total. I think this got as low as 36. Pretty wild. There is some weather talk. 84% of the bets are on the Steelers right now, Sean. So a little bit of danger on my mind when I think about Tomlin as a favorite. When I think about Tomlin. As a public team here and a favorite. When I think about Tomlin on Thursday night, something he has not been good at.
The Steelers have never won a road divisional Thursday night game. They're 0-7 straight up, 1-6 ATS all time, including a couple spots there in Cleveland. Tomlin's 2-8 straight up on the road on Thursday night football in general. So that's certainly something to be concerned about. Ryan, we did talk a little bit of weather. Yeah. And that is one angle that's kind of got me second guessing, but man, the arm tackling and effort coming out of a bye week for this Browns team with Kevin Stefanski was troubling. I mean, the fact you make Taysom Hill look like Walter Payton. Now maybe I'm mad that I didn't have Taysom Hill 3 touchdowns, because if there's anyone in the gambling world to bet Taysom Hill 3 touchdowns, it would have been me.
Yep.
But I thought we would get a good effort from the Saints, from this Browns team coming out of the bye. Now maybe they were looking ahead to the Thursday night division matchup. Maybe we overlooked that, but I don't know, man. That was a really, really flat, ugly performance. And we talk about the weather. Hey, maybe it's going to impact some of these props. I'm leaning to it not having a huge impact unless to me, I start bringing in the weather. If the weather is like 20, 25 miles per hour and higher, then I start adjusting stuff. But I think you play it as if there isn't going to be a major impact until you see it kind of last second, because so many times I've tried to get ahead of the weather. It's always bit me in the ass. This is a nugget. Ryan, Jameis Winston. I always call him Jameson Winston while I'm drinking Jameson. And how does he not have a Jameson deal? He started 73 games in his NFL career. He has only started 5 games below 50 degrees, with no games at 40 degrees or colder. This could be the coldest game Jameis Winston has ever played in, Ryan.
When I want to hear, please mic him up.
In his yeah, he's a Southern boy. I bet
he's from Bama.
He's got pretty. Played a bunch in Tampa. I bet he's got pretty thin blood. In Jameis' 4 coldest NFL starts, his teams have scored 12, 20, 19, and 10 points.
Oh, he's talked about it.
Yeah,
he's never lived anywhere cold.
No,
so
there's probably going to be, and if the video's not already out there, like Jameis Winston reacts to seeing snow for the first time.
Yes,
I know
please.
Big Play, Dave, they work with Jameis. That would Jameis, like cold weather, Jameis in a snowball fight. That's
suit?
the kind of content I want to see. Yeah, maybe he goes full wetsuit. I don't know.
This is, I mean, my God, what a rock and hard place we've found ourselves. Here.
Couple other things to note: Steelers lost to the Browns both straight up and ATS in their last meeting back in November. So I do think revenge is on the mind. Pittsburgh hasn't lost straight up and ATS versus Cleveland in back-to-back years since 1999 and 2000. So I think historically, if it was like normal season, I would probably be on the Browns here. But this Steelers team is playing at really at another level. Like they could have probably blown out the Ravens if a couple of those plays break the right way there. Russ throwing that bad interception in the end zone, and whatever, it is Russ. But this Browns quit factor is really through the roof. There's a ton of matchups that just scream huge advantage for the Steelers. TJ Watt versus this banged up Cleveland Browns offensive line, and just Steelers in general, I think are a machine right now. 4.5, maybe I'm thinking about it, but now that it's got under 4, I'm all in on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me the Steelers laying 3.5.
We're not concerned about the fact that even when the Browns sucked, they would sometimes or beat the Steelers at home.
No, I get it. And if you're making a case for the Browns, it's a fairly easy case, right? It's hey, this is a massive get up spot. This is their Super Bowl. They were looking ahead to this game, but I just don't see a lot of fight left in this Browns team, and the matchups are just so bad for them. I think you got to take the Steelers.
Yeah, I the Jameis cold weather spot was something else I had noted as well. Like this is a very and you're missing your starting left tackle.
Yeah,
like TJ Watt's going to put you on the ground a little bit. In general, if this is a bad weather game, which team do you favor? I don't see Cleveland's not been a successful running team this year, so I don't exactly think
Nick Chubb doesn't look great coming back.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure that's helpful. And Jameis and Russ are kind of similar throwers of the football. I definitely trust Russ in bad weather more. He played most of his career in bad weather, and so this to me.
Well, and Russ for the most part doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, that's part of the reason why I think Tomlin went with him. One, obviously, you get a little higher ceiling with the passing game, and then 2, he is a little more reliable when it comes to not turning the ball over.
Also makes way more sense for Justin Fields to come in for a couple snaps. It would be weird if it was the other way around. So I think they've dialed it in perfectly. I hate that we're laying 3.5.
Oh, here he is, Ryan.
What?
Hooked on Bo Nix in the chat. Woo, made it live. LFG.
Yep. Stop the show. Let's talk about Bo Nix some more.
Just the profile photo of Bo Nix is just a guy who looks really excited to be there.
When he's on his second team in 4 years, it's going to be really awkward conversation.
Hey, a part of why I like him is the fit.
All right. And last thing I'll say, Sean, for a long time, we've understood, since we've read the hieroglyphics deep in the Utah mountains, you lay the 3.5. You don't take it.
There you go.
Let's head over to Sunday, where we have 7 games in the early window. Back to another 3 late. Hopefully that doesn't. It looks to be like 3 solid games, so we should be good. Game number 1, Sean. We got the Detroit Lions taking on your Indianapolis Colts. At least last week they were. 88% of the bets coming in on the Lions minus the 7.5, minus 350 on the money line. Colts plus 296. 50 is the total. These have been 2 of the better teams in the NFL against the spread this year. Lions do have that peek ahead to Thanksgiving, as of course. I don't think they go off the grid like I do and not consume technology. Watch the games after the fact. But the Lions do. Yeah, they do have that look ahead spot to the early Thanksgiving Day game. And, I didn't mark this as a quote unquote sharp spot, but this very much seems like it's going to be a pros versus Joes game. I've read no one who considers themselves a sophisticated bettor or handicapper of football that is even coming close to taking the Lions in this spot. Non-conference road spot.
Yeah, I mean, just start
clear
there.
letdown. Yeah. Clearly the game that means the least on their schedule from here on out.
Yeah.
Colts, okay, they're starting to play better. Are they? This defense of the Lions tends to struggle against mobile quarterbacks. I haven't seen Anthony Richardson really look like a willing runner.
No, it's weird.
Season.
I mean, he hasn't been as good as a runner, but he's been effective at times, picking up 3rd downs, picking up 2 rushing touchdowns against the Jets. You want to talk about quarterbacks that did have good games against the Lions? Baker Mayfield, Kyler, both had some running success. Obviously, Baker got that win. Kind of a different game script for that Lions team, and Lions and the Colts are 2 teams that have just been awesome ATS. I mean, Colts are up there. I'm pretty sure 8-2, 7-3, depending.
Colts are on with our numbers 7-3-1.
Okay, so yeah, they're
Lions are 8-2.
So they're really pretty close as teams that have just been great. ATS and this kind of reminds me a little bit, certainly. Not an exact comparison, but if you remember last year, there was a Sunday game, Lions Bears, where the Lions were also looking ahead towards the Packers on Thanksgiving. They faced a mobile quarterback in Justin Fields. Yeah. Fields had a really good game, I guess, by Fields standards. We may have even been on the Fields rushing ladder for 100 yards. They were catching 8.5 points. It was a competitive game. Lions did end up getting the win. I'm always scared of taking dogs where I struggle to get to a point where they can win outright. I think there is a small path for this Colts team to win outright, but again, the Lions have been very good about not letting down, not looking ahead, bouncing back. But this does feel like a slippery, tricky spot for them, right? They had that huge primetime game against the Texans. Oh, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. They fought back. And then, okay, maybe this is the letdown spot. No, they destroyed another AFC South team, and they've certainly owned the AFC South. If you're going to say, hey, this Lions team is awesome, I'm going to take the Lions no matter what the rest of the season, laying whatever number, I get that. But I'm going to have to take the Colts and the points. I think this is the Colts as a home dog, the Colts interior defensive line. If anyone can get, and we've seen Jared Goff not do well against pressure. That's why he threw a bunch of picks in that Texans game, or at least part of it. I think this Colts defensive line can can pressure the Lions, get them out of their game a little bit. So yeah, I'm taking the Colts and the 7.5 points. I think and the home dog, and the Lions are kind of getting banged up on the defensive side. Obviously, we know they lost Hutchinson for the season, but Anal Zone, aka Anzalone, the guy who a linebacker that was really key to their defense, racked up a ton of tackles for them, called the defensive plays, is out. So, and there's a guy, I think there's one other guy banged up in the secondary. So I think the Colts make enough big plays to keep this interesting game. 7.5 is a hair high, so I'll take the Colts.
Colts are also very healthy. You mentioned that Bears angle earlier, and it made me go back and look. It's like, all right, well, you bring up a great comp. Also, Justin Fields is an equally great comp. Not a good thrower, but can run. And you look at the games he had against this Detroit defense. 2022. 13 carries, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Also in 2022, 10 carries, 132 yards on the ground. Looking at 2023, again, just absolutely crushing them on the ground. 18 carries, 104 yards. I certainly could see something. 12 carries for 58 yards was the worst performance, and that was in the victory that you were mentioning. So I guess I kind of flipped around. I was willing to be a donkey on this one and just come in and swing with the Lions because they've not been let down. But then you look at it and you're just like, well, this game really doesn't matter. Their defense has been. They're vulnerable in the area where if Anthony Richardson actually wants to fucking run the ball like Justin Fields, he's going to crush them. And they're missing players. They're banged up, like you mentioned. So insult to injury. And at some point they have to have a bad game, right?
But you can still have a good game and win
a field. Is it you saying they're going to win by a field goal?
Yeah, I think this could be a 24-20 game. I think something like that where Colts get the cover and Lions have been covering as a favorite, destroying teams, but Colts have been that team that just won't go away. They're super pesky as a dog, and the ATS record suggests it. So
yeah, there's also a good chance this is one of those games where I'm pissed off that I'm on fucking Anthony Richardson at about 11:15 local time out.
Why did I bet on Anthony Richardson? You could maybe tap out of the bet.
Yeah, please get me out of this one.
Oh, Ryan, listen to that music. You know what it means. Time to head over to mybookie.ag. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's right. Oh, look at Bitcoin's at 96K. Maybe you got a nice little Bitcoin stash. Want to put it to work over at mybookie.ag. 100% match when you use the promo code SGPN up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. They got a new live betting and streaming mobile site. They got early cash out option for pussies, faster crypto deposits and payouts. I mean, that's the thing. We always talk about these crazy props we give out. Their prop builder is really awesome. One of the best menus available, and MyBookie, you can get it anywhere across the globe, across the country. Sign up today. Use our promo code. Toss us a bone. MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. Oh, listen to those trumpets. Also, Ryan, we're brought to you by Rebets. While we're here, let's talk a little Rebet. It's a new social sports book available in that. Get it, 45 states, 100% deposit match up to $100. It's the sweepstakes style, which means it's legal in a ton of states. So if you're in the United States, you're listening to us, a 90% chance and higher that Rebet is available to you. Just type in Rebet in your app store. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you 100% deposit match up to $100. Rebet, promo code SGPN.
I've been intrigued.
Yeah, with Rebet.
Yeah, oh yes. Especially being out here in California.
Yeah, no, great option if you're in California, Texas, bunch of states. Get after it.
All right, game number 2 in the early window, the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow, you want to talk about a little bit of a letdown spot here. The Chiefs take to the road after that loss against Buffalo. I actually did not look into this, Sean, but where did the Chiefs stay in the off week?
That's a good point.
82% of the bets coming in on Kansas City -11, -600 on the money line. Carolina +480. 43 is the total. Look, the Chiefs are on a back-to-back road spot. They're just coming off that game in Buffalo where they lost as a dog for the second time to Josh Allen. The Chiefs also have a look ahead, Sean. They're playing the Raiders on Black Friday.
Yeah.
It's a short week. I'm throwing in the same bundle as the Thursday games for this Thanksgiving week. And yeah, this is like a textbook sandwich spot to me for the Chiefs. Nothing that they're not undefeated.
You know who loves sandwiches though? Oh. Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid is probably the one guy you want in a sandwich spot. He eats sandwiches left and right. So yeah, you might want Andy Reid in a sandwich spot, getting his bundle rooski, sandwich rooski.
This is a very weird commercial.
Yeah, very weird. It's something that some ad exec probably thought when he was like high and on pills, and they actually went with it. So, this is tough, right? Because you know what's going to happen. The Chiefs will be up. Chiefs will be up 17. They'll call off the dogs.
It's a big number.
They're going to win. And the Chiefs haven't been good as big favorites. They haven't been good ATS with this like crazy high spread. Panthers, they do get Adam Thielen back. We'll see how much playing time he gets.
Jonathan Brooks.
Will
he play?
High hopes for Jonathan Brooks. Why did people draft
him high hopes? I mean,
the Panthers do have DJ Wanham, who was available for that London game. Kind of did a number on the Giants O line. And the Chiefs tackles have had some issues. Like there's a smart football place you can get to by suggesting the Panthers. You can sound really smart. You can talk about Patrick Mahomes as a road favorite of 7 or more. He's 6-11. But you know, to me, it's this Spagnuolo defense versus Bryce Young. And
you're gonna lay this.
I'm gonna lay this
in the long turf
on Carolina. The long grass. At the end of the day, the Panthers, I still think are a very bad football
team.
And the Chiefs are coming off a loss.
I have some trivia for you.
Sure.
How many games back are the Panthers from first place in their division?
I bet it's 3.
3 games.
Yeah.
It's actually 2.5.
Oh my God. It's got it, and their odds are like 500 to 1.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be difficult, but all right. You're right.
Panthers are off a bye. Jatavion Sanders, I'm sure we'll talk about him on the prop show. The Panthers tight end, great matchup against the Chiefs. If the Chiefs were coming off a win, you could talk me into the sandwich cheese spot, letdown spot, but I just don't see it, man. This Chiefs team, their offense needs to get right. Massive coaching edge. I'm taking KC -11. I'm not gonna be. This is not potential lock.
I don't think you bring the full playbook to this game because you know you're gonna win. You're just getting out of there. I think you got to take the points. I think you're being reckless with the brain energy of other people suggesting you're going to lay the Chiefs points here.
Yeah, I'm laying it.
All right. Oh man, come on, Sean. This isn't even, it's cute, but it's like obvious cute. You can't lay the points here.
No, you can.
Coming off the bye. Bryce Young has never looked better. The offensive line's playing better.
See, this is because you think the Giants are a competent team. So you're grading that Carolina win.
I'm saying that
as like, oh man, I'm moving the Panthers up my power rankings. This is outright win over the Giants.
No, they
were 6.5 point dogs. That's an indictment on the New York Giants. That's not a positive for the Carolina Panthers.
I'm saying that
let's get real.
I'm saying that
this is when you want to fade the Panthers off a winning streak.
Multiple wins. They're coming off a bye and they believe
2 wins in a row.
Only 2.5 games back. Give me the Panthers.
You want to talk about stuff you're gonna regret?
This is
at 11 o'clock.
This is which game's more likely to be regretful, the Colts or the Panthers?
Well, because the Colts actually have some guys that can make some plays, some explosive plays.
I think the Panthers are live on the money line.
That's the craziest thing you've said. But hey, put your money where your mouth is. The dog spot is available. I'll believe you. I'll believe you when you select it as your dog.
I remember that when I did hit a nice dog last week. Thank you for pointing out that we pick a dog on this show every week.
Yep.
All right. Third game, got a little NFC North matchup here, Sean. The Vikings, who are on their third straight road game, and fourth road game in 5 weeks. They're on the road in Chicago. Chicago, of course, does have that Thanksgiving game looming against the Lions.
Real quick, Ryan, because Macon Bacon, our favorite New Zealand butcher, wants to know. We brushed by it. Is Pacheco playing?
Yes, but it doesn't seem like. I would say if he plays, it won't be significant impact.
Yeah, I can see this as a game they ease him back in. It sounded like he was close to going against the Bills. I thought he was gonna play against the Bills, at least when we taped it Wednesday night. And then as it got closer to kickoff, it's like, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't factor it in too much into your handicap, because I think, like, Pacheco coming back in limited role versus Kareem Hunt, probably not a massive difference, but I do think he does play.
Well, I mean, are you really going to smash Pacheco into the ground against the Panthers?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to play him a ton.
Rehab stint type situation. He'll get a very prescribed number of carries. Vikings, Bears, like I was saying before Sean rudely interrupted me. Vikings laying 3.5 here on the road. I mean, if it wasn't 3.5, I'd say this is the most obvious spot on the board. -185 on the money line, +163 for the Bears. 39 is the total. The Vikings have been very good ATS. They've been very good in general.
Yeah.
Teams are not good in this situation. Long term. So dating back.
Yeah. Did you find the number of third road game? I found some like old articles. So but I couldn't find any recent stuff.
From what I was able to dig up, and this is over a sample of something like 133 games.
Okay.
It was roughly 44% the team on the road for the third straight game. If you overlay a team that is playing 4 road games in 5 weeks, it gets even worse. And so, I would also hypothesize that the fact that, this is anecdotal at this point, but the last couple seasons of these kind of extended 3 road games in a row generally have happened earlier in the season. This being so much later in the season, I think there's a serious impact. Like there's a serious advantage for the Bears in this spot.
Yeah. And the Vikings didn't look good. I mean, I know
they haven't looked good for a couple games now.
Yeah. I know
Jags game, they didn't exactly look great.
Oh, they looked horrible against the Jags.
They looked okay, but they were just sloppy, making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, Darnold had 3 interceptions. They won 12-7. Like Jaguars break one play, they lose outright to the Jags, and then even that Titans game,
they outgained them yards per play, I believe, for whatever that's worth.
So Titans did outgain the Vikings yards per play, and the Vikings won and covered. I was on the Vikings there, picks wise, but I didn't feel like coming away from them. That wasn't like, oh man, I everything's clicking. I didn't feel great about that win. I mean, the Titans have a really bad pass defense. It's not surprising they struggled to run the ball, but I don't know, man. 20-32, Justin Jefferson, 81 yards. It was, and they had some sloppy, broken plays. Vikings defense did play well. Shut down the running game. Will Levis was the leading rusher for 7 carries, 18 yards. Some of that is the Titans running back, the Titans offensive line.
That's the concern, is you get Flores versus a rookie.
Yeah, you get Flores versus Caleb Williams. Like that matchup. I don't know if you've dug into it. Aaron Jones has had 4 2-touchdown games against the Bears, including 3 in the last 5 games. Obviously playing on the Packers there. Bears didn't bounce back after a heartbreaking loss last time. I mean, you remember the Hail Mary loss, and then they just got destroyed in Arizona. I don't know how much you take out of that.
That was before they fired
Shane Waldron.
He was the problem.
And I think the version of the offense was better. Now, Brian Flores has a game of tape. He can probably make some adjustments.
It feels like a massive mismatch. I don't like.
He's gonna be and the Bears are looking ahead to Thanksgiving. To me,
we would be overlooking a pretty historical, like, team is probably tired and beat up. trend. This is also, I mean,
yeah, I mean, honestly, like if it wasn't for the Vikings, this being their third road game, I would be on the Vikings. That's the thing that's scaring me off. So I'm trying to balance. Hey, is that situation spot worth more than like the obvious matchup stuff going on for the Vikings?
I think it's a pretty impactful thing.
And what the deciding, I don't teeter, I don't cock, I lock.
No. Oh,
and my
lock that cock.
I'm not gonna actually lock this game up because I don't feel that strongly about it. But the kind of deciding tilt for me, and division home dogs haven't been great. I'm going to the Bears because of not believing in Sam Darnold and his ability to cover this number on the road. I see the case for the defense, etc. This ultimately, to me, still feels like a field goal game. The Vikings have struggled to put up a ton of points against really subpar defenses on the road. Maybe they figure it out here, but this to me is still going to be like a 21-20 type kind of classic NFC North battle where Caleb Williams really made some plays with his legs. So I think if he's smart, he's going to run a bunch because you don't want to sit back there if Flores is blitzing. And it's weird because Caleb Williams has done a very bad job of getting rid of the ball and taking a ton of sacks, but also if you look at just his stats versus the blitz, they've kind of been good. So I don't know what actually ends up mattering there, but I will take the Bears in the 3.5. Ultimately, Darnold and his shittiness is what threw me off.
I would say the laying the 3.5 and Flores versus Caleb Williams, a rookie, is the strong forces trying to get me off of the obvious fade Minnesota because they're playing their third game in 3 weeks on the road and fourth in 5 weeks. And they a little bit of a physical game last week against the Titans too. It's kind of like a extra side note here. So I'll do it, but I thought the Bears defense played solid. Like there's been some issues with that Bears defense, but to hold the Packers to 20 points, like them turning Jordan Love over, just like they're gonna turn Sam Darnold. That's
over. That's kind of how I see it. So yeah, give me the Bears.
I'm good with that. Yeah. All right. Fourth game, Dallas, the Cowboys. They're taking on the Redskin Commander football team. This is a big rivalry, or it used to be once upon a time. Jerry's off negotiating with Coach Prime already, who apparently is quote unquote interested if they draft his son. Cowboys are catching 10 points.
What?
Here,
Who saw that coming?
Plus 440 on the money line. Commanders minus 540. 44.5 is the total. Cowboys off short or on short rest coming off Monday Night Football. Meanwhile, Commanders have a little bit of extra rest.
Yeah.
Another one of these situations that seem to, obviously influence you down the path of one team, and that would be the Commanders here. Also, it does seem like the Commanders are getting healthy, which is a good sign. And Dallas, I mean, what do you do here? They got the Thanksgiving game on deck.
Yeah.
You got to get Trey Lance ready for that one against Tommy DeVito. So
this is a great
Cooper
nugget.
Rush had his career game last week too.
Yeah.
Is he going to top that?
If you're looking for Mike McCarthy in an upset spot, he's 2-18 straight up as a dog of 7 points or more, and 0-12 straight up above a full touchdown.
So
he's never won as a touchdown dog. That's crazy.
At one point, this is probably like 5-6 years ago, I analyzed this.
So maybe I misread it. Up to 7 points, and then over 7 points, he's 0-12.
Okay, I analyzed this exact thing, and being good as a dog is one simple thing: can you motivate men to play football? Mike McCarthy can motivate men to play football.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is a get right spot for the Commanders team. Maybe people thought I was a homer pointing out, hey, Jaden Daniels is dealing with this rib injury. It's a short week. He's clearly been banged up. That Thursday night spot's going to be tough, and we saw that he went up against one of the best secondaries in the league, a ferocious defensive line, one of the top defenses in the league, and got knocked around.
Great
took some
use
shots.
of ferocious.
But now he's gotten again massive rest disparity. The Cowboys, I think if they have a Super Bowl, it is the Giants on Thanksgiving. They're not making the playoffs. Their season is over. The only hope they have of saving any face is winning on Thanksgiving. So they're definitely looking ahead to that.
Dan Quinn revenge spot.
Dan Quinn revenge spot. You can.
He's gonna fuck up this offense.
And what can you do against the Commanders? You can run the ball against the Commanders. You think Zeke's fat ass is gonna be able to pound the rock?
He is gonna fuck up this offense.
Dallas 0-6 ATS after a loss.
Tell me more.
And Jaden Daniels, the other time he had extended rest so far this season was that Bengals game. He balled out against a shitty defense. I mean, it could have been way worse for the Cowboys. Think how many interceptions the Texans dropped. Now you take Cooper Rush on the road. I mean, you can't make this line big enough. I'm honestly surprised it's only 10 points. I don't know why it's not bigger.
And this was
CeeDee Lamb and CeeDee Lamb was recording a music video after the game at some bar, like literally after the game.
This was pointed out to me by a Redskins fan. They're gonna have a heavy advantage in the crowd for the first time in a long time in this game. People are stoked about the team right now, and Cowboys fans certainly aren't getting out of bed for this one. They're waiting for Jerry to lock in on Coach Prime. So yeah, I think this is a smash spot. This was when they opened this number back in May, Dallas was a 3-point road favorite.
Yeah, I just don't see any fight from this team.
That they're what team?
I mean, just remember those first couple of plays, and that was at home on prime time. Now you go on the road in some weird 1 o'clock start that's not getting national TV. I mean, remember like those first couple of plays, they just made no effort to tackle. Just running all of Derek Barnett, just like destroyed guys, took the ball. Right. I mean,
and they're not going to fire him. They're not going to fire him after this game because they got a game in like 3 days.
Yeah,
right?
they can't. No,
is that when you fire him? You let him go right on Thanksgiving.
I was pretty surprised they didn't fire him after Monday night, but because, and again,
Jerry doesn't do that.
It's the short rest to the road game to the short rest Thanksgiving game. This is a brutal stretch for a team that really fucking sucks.
Dan Quinn's going to fuck up this offense. All right, game number 5 in the early window. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off the bye week. Sounds like Mike Evans is healthy. Sounds like Baker had some time to rest up and get healthy. He's back to feeling dangerous. And 86% of you are laying the 6 points with the Tampa Bay Bucks -265 on the money line as they travel to New Jersey, the Meadowlands, to take on a young Italian man who once won a state championship in the same building. Sean, +230 on the money line. 41 is the total. Both teams off the bye, so you kind of you break that one there. Giants do have that matchup against Trey Lance and the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
don't think anyone's looking ahead.
Oh, I disagree. Again, I think the Giants, the same thing applies to them. The only chance they have of walking around town with any sort of credibility is beating the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They don't give a shit about the Tampa Bay Bucks coming to town. They're happily, I mean, they laid down across the seas. They're going to lay down here. I mean, it's pretty obvious Dable has lost the team. The matchup that I like is Todd Bowles versus bad quarterbacks versus quarterbacks who like to run around back there. I think he actually knows what he's doing. I mean, the Bucks defense has struggled, but they're going to do a good job locking down Tommy, Danny, DeVito. I mean, Todd Bowles with 2 weeks to prepare for DeVito. Love those odds.
He didn't know it was DeVito until a couple days ago.
Okay, so. DeVito or Drew Lock.
That's a big difference.
Bucks are good ATS after a loss. They lost coming into the bye. They're 4-1 ATS after a loss. DeVito last year among all qualifiers, 125 pass attempts or more, had the 4th worst EPA among all quarterbacks.
You fucking one of these spreadsheet nerds.
Hey, Jeremy Lin was fun. He had a good run, but Jeremy Lin the next year, wow. Ryan. It's like Godfather 3. It's the sequel no one wanted for Tommy DeVito.
Are you talking about the Tommy DeVito 2-0 ATS 2-0 straight up in the state of New Jersey while playing in the National Football League? That Tommy DeVito?
Yeah, no, exactly.
And
that
you're
one.
talking about Brian Dable, who's 2-0 ATS, 2-0 straight up coming off the bye. That same Dable. Brian Dable's lost the team.
Yeah.
Disagree. Stop reading the tabloids. This is Tommy DeVito playing in New Jersey again. The juice, the vibes will be high. The juice will be there. It's going to be a win game, Sean. Tyrone Tracy's going to have a game. Do you know what
they're actually good at stopping?
You know what DeVito's going to do? DeVito's just going to throw the ball at Malik Neighbors. So there's probably going to be some interceptions in this one, but Malik Neighbors going to have a big game. Baker also going to have maybe a big game if the win's not too bad.
Huge game.
And I think the Giants pass rush will give Baker some problems. So also worth noting, Baker has in his career has been bad when he's had extended rest, too much time for him to get dangerous.
But if you dug deeper on that trend, extended rest where he was a favorite coming after it, he's 2-0. Okay. Straight up in ATS. And as Terrell points out, Banks is about to get cooked. He's predicting Mike Evans 3 touchdowns. It's going to be bad.
Banks will not be on Evans.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Who did they have guarding AJ Brown?
Not on that one play. It was a guy who's no longer on the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So replaced by a worse guy?
Play that allowed AJ Brown to get over some in a lucky 4th down heave.
Lucky.
Was against a guy that's no longer on the team. No longer on the team.
Well, yeah, everyone's leaving the team.
This is a big number. You're laying 6 on the road here.
Oh, 100%.
You're laying 6 on.
What the Giants haven't shown a pulse in months.
But Tommy DeVito's going to screw this up. They don't need to win now. He's going to screw this up just like he did last year in the state of New Jersey. The tailgate juice, all the guinea eye ties out there. Eating their chicken parmesan, their cutlets.
Giants are better on the road. They're horrible at home.
All right. I'm telling you what Tommy DeVito. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to give you some advice.
I'm listening.
And Mike Evans returning from a hamstring injury in a game that will be somewhat cold weather. You know, be careful. Does he finish the game? I don't know. I think it's a coin flip. Game number 6. I'm on the Giants for the record. Unfortunately. New England taking on the Dolphins. Dolphins, this feels like this does feel like an ultimate gatekeeper situation for the Dolphins and Tua against bad teams. But Drake May is kind of interesting. Patriots catching 7.5 here, plus 309 on the money line. Dolphins laying or minus 365. 46 is the total. Dolphins have the night game on Thanksgiving, Sean. So another look at spot here. I mean, this is the spot where you take the Dolphins, though. This is the spot where you take Tua. This is the flow chart game. The Dolphins have owned the Patriots of late.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I understand the matchup history here. I get it, but I kind of like the Pats here. I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's banged up. You got Christian Gonzalez, able to probably hang on him. I know the Dolphins have won a couple in a row here, but I'm not that impressed. Like they let that Raiders team hang around way too long. Brock Bowers got whatever he wanted. Look to some Hunter Henry props. I get it. You know, the history says take the Dolphins here, but I'm with you, Ryan. Like this Drake
May flow chart.
This Drake May character can move the ball, make some plays. I get it, but also the Dolphins are looking ahead to that Thanksgiving game.
So Tyreek,
and it's a revenge spot for the Patriots. They already lost to them earlier. I think, and I'm still skeptical on Mike McDaniel being a good head coach. This is too many points. And then the Dolphins keep winning ugly, so I'm taking the 7.5.
Yeah, but this is the spot that they're good. Like they'll be good.
That's what I thought, but no, they normally are dominant at home ATS. But they haven't been as of late.
All right, we'll see. I mean, to your point, Christian Gonzalez held Tyreek Hill on 9 targets to 5 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown in week 2 last year. But then when Gonzalez was not there, week 8, Tyreek Hill had 8 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown. So
yeah, he's a big difference maker. I think this is going to be an ugly game, kind of similar to the game in New England. I know Tua wasn't there, but I don't know, man. Tua, to me, I'm back on the Tua sucks train. So.
Yeah, no, I think Miami's going to get it done here. Miami's been sneaky. Like the defense has definitely taken a step forward since the bye week.
Miami 1-4 ATS at home. This isn't the same Miami team.
That's fine, but they are good playing against bad teams when they have Tua. When they have Tua,
historically they have been. I don't know if that applies this year.
When they have Tua, they've been good beating bad teams. Like last week being a perfect example. Game number 7 in the early window, Tennessee, Houston, a little AFC South matchup. Sean, we know we like the flow chart down here in the South. The Texans coming off the Monday night game, the Titans coming off that game against the Vikings. Texans laying 7.5 again, minus 380 on the money line, plus 320 for the Titans. 40 is the total. I guess not very surprising that the Texans are the public side here. 79% of the bets. Comical 1-9 ATS for the Titans against the spread.
I mean, it's historically.
With our numbers. All right. So obviously this Titans
team, over the last 2 years, Ryan, 9-23-2 ATS.
Yeah, they're not
the worst mark of any team in the NFL. The only team with fewer than 10 covers. That's crazy.
You can play Mad Libs with trends and just like, all right, Will Levis is never covered or won a divisional game.
It's bad.
And he, it's like, all right, that's not very good. And you know, it's fun. And I forget where I grabbed this nugget, but since 2003, only 2 quarterbacks are 0-5 ATS or worse in division against divisional opponents. Will Levis and Zach Mettenberger, who also played for the Titans.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can't take the Titans here, even catching 7.5 points.
It's a flowchart game. Texans dominate.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I guess
DeMeco Ryans never lost, covered both games against
DeMeco Ryans versus Will Levis. That's a huge matchup in their favor. Now, I guess if you were building the case for the Titans, you would talk, hey man, they're really good at stopping the run. If Joe Mixon doesn't get going and CJ Stroud's forced to pass, the CJ Stroud's, I know they blew out the Cowboys. Did anyone think he looked good in that game? I don't know, man. I'm still skeptical of CJ Stroud, which would maybe warrant not laying the 7.5. But on the other side, how do the Titans to cover this? They have to get to like 17, 20 points. And I just don't see how this offense does it.
Tough matchup for
against the Texans at home. The Texans defense has just been
defense going
really good. So and the Texans don't really have anything to look ahead to. Yeah, slightly short week, but they felt somewhat rested in that blowout win. There's just I can't get to the Titans.
Well, worth noting, they were trying to drive down and score there at the end. And when they got that second Joe Mixon catch, getting dangerously close to blowing up my same game parlay. So I don't know what they were thinking about there, but yeah, I think, and Sean, we haven't said this all episode, but this is a great teaser right here.
Lock this up in your teaser.
Just throw it in there.
Can't miss it.
Pleaser too. I think I love it as a pleaser too. Both ways.
We'll talk about some reverse teasers, aka pleasers, on the VSiN show with CJ.
True swinging gate situation. All right.
Hey, sign up over at underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN. Get in over there. Get a little entry cooking for Sunday, or Monday, or Thursday, or any day of the week. They have a ton of sports, ton of ways to win over on Underdog Fantasy. Kramer, we already gave out an entry for Thursday night. What do you like for this Sunday in the National Football League?
All right. What should we talk about? Yeah, let's talk about a game we've already talked about. How about we go to that? Do we want to go to the Chicago game and go back to the Caleb Williams rushing angle we were discussing earlier?
What do you, Caleb Williams right now? I'm seeing if Underdog, they don't have his rushing yards up, right?
All right. We'll move over to Anthony Richardson then. We highlighted.
I think we went there last week, but I'm down to run it back.
This is against an Aaron Glenn defense. We highlighted what Justin Fields looked like in this matchup. You want to take
higher 44.5 for Anthony Richardson?
What's the carry? What's the attempts number? Do they have that?
They don't have his attempts.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, Justin Fields averaged like 130 yards.
I know, it's crazy. Some of the I do think Hunter Henry has a good matchup against the Dolphins. You saw what Brock Bowers did.
Adi needs to make a cut up of you loving Hunter Henry in DFS or
no. I haven't. When have I? I have not talked about Hunter Henry all season. You're crazy.
No, you definitely have brought him up a couple.
This season, no.
When we build our DFS lineup every week on the pregame show,
too,
you bring up Hunter
he's
Henry.
cheap, and there's no that who. I'm
not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying you bring up. It'd be funny if Adi made a cut up of you bringing up Hunter.
Adi would never do that.
Adi has great comedic taste.
And Hunter Henry was 6 for 63 last game, so I was on to something. He doesn't have a touchdown yet. Or he has one touchdown.
You're like a fish in the water that keeps seeing the worm, knows it a hook, swims away, and just keeps coming back.
Do we take the Jatavion Sanders angle?
I don't mind that actually. I was talking.
I don't see his receiving yards. It's just touchdown right now on underdog.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we'll take the Jatavion Sanders higher receiving touchdown and Anthony Richardson higher 44.5 rushing yards.
Good little banger.
13.71x. So fun little sprinkle here. Hunter would return you $1,371, and you get that deposit bonus. Underdogfantasy.com promo code SGPN.
All right, Sean. Late window, 3 games, like I mentioned, and I would say this is a as quality of a 3-game late slate as you can have. First one, we go to the AFC West, where the Denver Broncos are traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Some might say that the Broncos will have some fans in attendance. Sean going to be hanging out with the Broncos at the Circa on the Friday night huddle up.
I forgot
overhang bar.
I hope I get invited.
I already secured an invite. So
yeah, we did joke about how I was gonna walk around with a barrel and the suspenders like the Broncos.
We are gonna maybe get Derek to join you. We'll see. Broncos laying 6 minus 260 on the money line, plus 224 for the Raiders. 41.5 is the total. There is a flow chart element to this matchup.
Not anymore. Not with Bo Nix, baby. He broke the Broncos Raiders curse.
He did. But there is still a tremendous tilt when you look at the home games for the Raiders. Even since they moved to Vegas, they're undefeated.
Actually, if you look at some of the scenarios where
Broncos have never won in Vegas,
the Raiders have actually overachieved even in these situations. Yeah, they had lost a bunch of games in a row. They never had a quarterback like Bo Nix. Some would say John Elway maybe as good as Bo Nix. Who am I to judge? The Raiders, Ryan. You want to go advanced nerd stat? 28th in defensive DVOA. Denver 4th. Defensive DVOA. If you like DVOA, this number should be over 7. To me, I know the Bo Nix thing has been fun, and I do think he has an efficient game. The Raiders, their weakness is giving up short, easy completions. That's what the Sean Payton offense is all about. They figured out how to get Marvin Mims involved. Vele has become a viable receiver. Cortland Sutton having a good game.
Here. Can't do it.
Alex, and the Raiders are incredibly banged up. Alexander Madison, Zamir White. I mean, what are the Raiders doing offensively? Yeah, maybe Brock Bowers that's a positive matchup for them. Sean Payton has a great history of dominating Gardner Minshew.
2 games.
2 games. Yeah, he's dominated him in both. The Broncos defensive line against Minshew. What are we talking about? They're gonna. I mean, Surtain is gonna get a pick 6. This is good. I mean, as much as I'm optimistic about Bo Nix and the offense, and again, my take on Bo Nix was more just like he's being graded as like the worst quarterback in the league coming into the season. And I said, Sean Payton put his nuts out for this kid. He took a ton of shit. He's going to make sure he puts him in the best situation to succeed. And he's been doing that. You watch the easy play action. Watch how much time Bo Nix has to throw the football. Watch his quiet feet. If you like footwork at the quarterback position, you'll be amazed at how far ahead of schedule Bo Nix is. It's going to be easy completion after easy completion. And this Raiders team, what do they got left? They've completely bailed on Antonio Pierce. They're playing for nothing.
What they have left is to maintain their dominance, 8 in a row, and like I said, the last 4 in Vegas over the Broncos at home. They've dominated. The only win that they have in their last 10 is the game they just played.
How many games has Bo Nix played in those games?
The Broncos have
Give me the Bo Nix record.
Bo Nix and the Broncos have been excellent.
100% straight up in ATS.
When playing Sean Payton's former division, the NFC South. But when playing everyone else, there's been a little to be desired. And all I'm saying here in a division matchup where we're seeing a team getting to see Bo Nix for the second time, you got to take the points, Sean.
This
you
is
got to take the points.
This is one of, we've been recording shows for since 2011, picking every NFL game against the spread. This is your worst pick, Brian.
This is my worst pick.
No, you've had some worse.
So I've had 2 worst picks on the same show.
What was your other one?
Carolina.
No, that one's not horrible. Your Giants pick and your Raiders pick are bad.
A lot of home teams, a lot of dogs.
The Giants, I could see it. You're obviously a biased handicapper, unlike myself. But the Raiders, you're just trying to fade my Bo Nix love, and there's really nothing else to it. You know how much better their defense is.
What do you? I think this is a tight divisional game, and the spread has gotten to be a little out of control here. 3 on the look ahead, out to 6. Come on, what are we doing?
What do the Raiders do?
What are we doing?
What do the Raiders do well? Give me one thing they do well.
They're going to be able to rush the passer a little bit better than the Falcons, and we just saw Bo Nix in a completely clean atmosphere with no chaos.
Have you seen their pass rush?
You just saw the perfect situation.
No,
your love of Bo Nix has gotten out of control.
Why did they not? Why did the Raiders not rush rush Tua? Why did they get 0 pressure on Tua?
That's a completely different situation.
All right.
It's completely different.
I'm with hooked on Bo Nix in the chat. Broncos by 10.
That was a road game in Miami, not a home game against a team that you have dominated.
A game where there's going to be more Broncos fans than
you
Raiders
have dominated this game. There's been more Broncos fans the last 4 years.
Nix. Yeah, with the washed up Russell Wilson.
Oh wow, here we go. Let's go Raiders. Game number 2, Arizona. My Cardinals.
Just a pure hater pick.
It's not a hater.
Watch me pick.
I was on the Broncos last week. I had more Bo Nix bets than you last week. More. I was on the I was on the passing yards. I had an alt number. All right, Cardinals coming off the bye. They head up to Seattle, where the first thing I think about, Sean, if this is a little bit of a weather game because they're having some sort of I don't know, like water tornado. Does it not help the Cardinals more? They feel like a little bit more of the smash mouth physical team at this point. And boy, I can't trust Geno. I understand they're coming off a big game, massive letdown spot. It's a pick 'em for some reason. I'd say the wrong team is favored because the Cardinals are plus 100 on the money line. Seahawks minus 120, 47.5 is the total. I kind of do like this Cardinals team coming off the bye. I like the idea of a team that can sometimes generate a little havoc, creating havoc against an offensive line that has allowed havoc all season. And when Geno Smith has had that havoc, he's made mistakes. Meanwhile, on the other side, I think the Cardinals can pound the rock here. I also think the Cardinals have advantages on the outside, and Kyler's just playing a different level. All the jokes about Call of Duty, all the jokes about his height, all the jokes about everything else. It's all coming to roost. This is a team that is leading the division, and they have played a tough fucking schedule too. Look at some of the teams they have played. This is a battle tested team. I think we're going to see a situation where Seattle is just bad.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're getting a pick 'em here, you just put this down as a lock right now. Seattle coming off the biggest win of their season, getting the monkey off their back. I mean, half my cards already filled out. I already told you I loved Houston as a teaser leg. This is again. What are we watching with this Cardinals team? Why are they getting so disrespected? What is it? What I mean, the Seattle has a horrible offensive line, horrible the adjusted. Yeah, they're the only team in the NFL that is in the bottom five in adjusted line yards on offense and defense. Seattle, their coach isn't smart, their situation sucks, and their quarterback. Honestly, Gino's not their starting quarterback next year.
Wow, right? You need oven mitts for that take. That's so hot. Yeah, no, I mean,
So one of us has a 14-1 Cardinals to win the West ticket.
Yeah, and
actually it's 13.75.
You were ahead of schedule. You were right. I shared some optimism for the Cardinals. I wasn't quite as high on as you were, but I'm regretting it because I wanted to fade Seattle. I wanted to fade the 49ers. Maybe I thought the Rams were going to be slightly better, certainly injured, but no, you're spot on with this Cardinals team. It's tough to disagree.
I feel it's rare that I feel very strong about Seattle's not good. Like I don't understand who's betting on this at this number. I don't understand. It's got to be Arizona -3 for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially the Cardinals coming off a bye. The 49ers, the 49ers did play Seattle, and it was a very physical game, as those division games happen to be.
And the Seahawks won a crazy fucking game that completely changed when Nick Bosa went out.
Yeah, they did not look good. Their center randomly retired last week. That's a horrible sign. And if Bosa stays in that game, they're able to get a pass rush still against Geno. And I don't know if they win the game if Bosa is out there for those last couple of drives, and Geno running in like a 30-yard game-winning touchdown didn't feel like something that's sustainable from this Seahawks team. Trey McBride, I think, is going to be a great matchup for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray running, Brock Purdy had a bunch of success running. Trevor in the chat, who's a Cardinals fan, we're doing a great job of running the ball and burning clock, and I think you can really shorten up this game against the Seahawks. Now, obviously, you got to keep don't let Kenneth Walker go off. Don't keep K9 in his crate there. Don't let DK Metcalf get loose.
The flow chart would tell you to take the Seahawks, but this dude's not Pete Carroll.
No, and the Seahawks are bad at home. Like it used to be. Oh man, you're going into Seattle. I feel like even towards the end of the Pete Carroll era, I was still having them as like a 3-point home edge. But especially in these past couple of years, they're 8-15, Ryan, at home ATS since 2022. Like this is not the raucous, I'm scared to go up there environment. We also saw Kyler Murray going viral for a guy he ate pizza with that didn't know it was Kyler Murray. Did you see that video?
I did not.
It's just weird. Like this guy's eating pizza, and I think it's like Kyler's doing a video and he's reviewing the pizza, and Kyler just like goes up to a random guy. He's like, "Hey, what do you think of the pizza?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." And then he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "I'm Kyler." He had to introduce himself as Kyler. It was pretty funny. But you certainly look at that guy. Don't think NFL player. Gannon with 2 weeks to prepare against Geno Smith, I think is a great matchup for this Cardinals team. Cardinals #1 in adjusted EPA on offense. So again, I don't know what metrics you like to look at, but all the advanced stuff are showing this Cardinals team is pretty good,
and they're trending in the right direction. And specifically, their pass rush. The pass rush has gone from where people were like, "This is one of the worst pass rushes in the league," to now they're entering the area being like slightly below average. And so, what does that tell you? Their pass rush has been good over the last couple of weeks. So obviously, we're on Arizona here. This is.
You're speaking for us. We're a picking couple.
Well, in this case, you'd be absolutely.
No, I'm always looking for.
I mean, you've made some bad picks on this show, but I assume you're not gonna.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you laid 6 with Bo Nix on the road against.
I feel like I've heard that before when he was laying points in New Orleans. You can't lay double digits with Bo Nix at home. Brian, how many games has Bo Nix not covered on the road?
Is the answer 1?
Depends on how you grade it. I have it at 0.
Okay. You want to do more Bo Nix talk, or should we move on to the third game in the late window between the San Francisco?
Let's see. Sorry, just pulling up some more Bo Nix stats.
Why don't you pull it out? We were having a conversation about old school photocopied Playboy on the college basketball.
Denver is. I have it as 5-0-1 ATS on the road.
5-0-1 on the road.
Yeah, because I have Seattle. That was a push for us, I think.
Got it. Okay. All right. So now that we're back to talking about the other football games, we're gonna discuss this great Jersey matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. A little bit of a rivalry. I do like that you can just bring up Bo Nix's image anytime you want. Go check out the YouTube channel if you're not watching.
Who am I? I mean, Ryan, I give the fans what they want. If a guy called Hooked on Bo Nix wants to talk Bo Nix, I put his comments on the screen.
It's very easy to get noticed in the chat. Just name yourself around the name Bo Nix. Any sort of variation probably works. All right, big matchup here, or kind of. I mean, the Niners reeling. The hangover's real. We nailed that, Sean. +2, +110 here as they travel to Lambeau to take on the Packers, who are -128 on the money line. 47.5 is the total. Boy. I mean, Packers do have a look ahead spot here to the Thursday slate next week. This Niners team is in a bounce back spot, but they feel broken. Everyone's banged up. Their entire team feels banged up. Whether it's Bosa, Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle, the entire team is just hurt. And as much as it pains me, Sean, you know I'm not a Packers guy. The Packers should be laying 3 points here.
Yeah, it's weird.
Why is this not 3?
Well, because the Jordan Love interceptions. You want to talk about auto plays? Right? You versus Jordan Love. The fact that you're capitulating and taking Jordan Love. The fact that the situation is telling you to take Jordan Love is maybe something scary here. But you know, Bosa, obviously, if he does play, he's not going to be 100%. He's dealing with that hip thing. He said it was the most painful thing he's ever dealt with, including the Joe Biden presidency. So that's how you know it's serious, Ryan.
I mean, jeez.
Brock Purdy,
spicy.
Well, that's what Bosa said. You can make your own conclusions. Brock Purdy got knocked around a lot. He's dealing with soreness in his throwing shoulder. Kittle, he's dealing with hamstrings. Sounds like he will play.
Sean, who cares about any of this? This game was circled since last year in the playoffs. Yeah. When Jordan Love forced an interception, totally didn't lose the game for the Packers.
And shout out to our buddy Adam Chernoff reminding us of a good nugget here that the Robert Saleh, a guy who knows how to take care of the knows a thing or two about the 49er system, he has been brought on as a Packers assistant, which you would imagine. Part of that is
I'm sure that won't.
I don't. This seems unrelated to this game, right? And the 49ers line is still dealing with in issues like Trent Williams suited up. He didn't play in that game. Him always not being there is interesting. I guess the case against the Packers is maybe they are looking ahead to the Thanksgiving game. They did win and cover as a home dog against the Chargers last time in this spot, and then went on to win and upset the Lions as pretty big dogs in Detroit. 49ers, Ron, I don't know what you're seeing on the bet splits. They seem to me like kind of a public dog, maybe having some fleas. And Christian McCaffrey, I know he's back, but has he looked explosive at all? Am I know I'm kind of biased.
He's not healthy. Niners are catching 2/3.
Yeah.
So I mean, to your point, I mean, it
well,
certainly,
and also too, like
of course they are, because the number's not 3.
Yeah, and I would say this, and they're asking is Kittle out? I think Kittle. It sounds like he's going to play, but of course he says he's going to play, which doesn't mean anything, especially on Wednesday. I'm not expecting a big game out of Kittle. I think if he does play, he's not 100%, and I still think there's a decent chance he ends up getting scratched. But the revenge angle,
I mean, they need the game, but they have the Bills on deck. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, no. Again, why one of my win total lock unders was the 49ers at 11.5. Now, they can essentially cash it, or no. So they need what, 2 more losses to lock it up. because they could go or no, one more loss,
one more.
Yeah, so maybe they went out and I lose my lock on the under on the 49ers, but we said this coming into the season. This is a season from hell. The year after the Super Bowl loss is always brutal for teams. It's so hard to get back up. You had a lot of injury luck last year. You're not having it this year. I'm not in love with what I saw against with the Packers against the Bears. They didn't blow me away in that spot.
That was a divisional game.
Yeah.
I mean,
that being said, I like Green Bay a lot here.
I'm just blown away by the number. This is a team that there's a home edge here. There's a revenge angle here. There's a number of situational spots to be down on San Francisco and high on Green Bay here. Remarkable. All right, let's talk Sunday Night Football. Sean stacking the money green will be in the house.
Let's go Birds.
Yeah, tune into the post game show. Special guest host will announce at some point in the future, or maybe
fun.
Not. You have to
Brian,
turn
just
in.
go solo.
No one wants to hear me. I mean, no one wants to hear me talk and ramble for an hour straight. That would. I mean,
Brian uninterrupted.
I'm sure I could do it. But I don't know if it's what people would want. Plus, I'm sorry, I'm putting the wrong game back up. Sean will be in the house for the Eagles, are. I shopped around, got you the best price here, Sean.
Oh, thank you.
Eagles laying 3 minus 146.
I'm seeing some 2.5.
I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
I got the fair number because it did seem like the 2.5s, at least before the show started, were a little bit juiced. -3 for the Eagles, minus 146 on the money line. Rams +3.
Yeah, I'm seeing 2.5 minus 120 ish. So
plus 128 on the money. Yeah, we serve minus 110s here, Sean.
No, that's fine.
82% of the bets.
I'm not worried about the 2.5.
82% of the bets on the Eagles, and I have to imagine. I'll make a prediction. This one closes 3.
Oh, exactly on 3. Bold prediction.
No, I mean like it's not going to be 2.5. It will be 3 or north, not 2.5.
Okay.
Another reason why we're picking it at 3 to be directionally accurate. I don't have it. All right. So I think you can be falsely led down a road that says that in his career Hurts has been bad on the road as a favorite.
Yeah, but this year he's actually been much better.
That's why I said falsely led down that road.
Okay.
I also think you have an interesting handicap from a motivational standpoint here, as the Rams, they're on the edge here. This is a very much a must-win game, and they're going to be humbled by not having their home crowd against an Eagles team that I believe you were sharing the nugget that forced the Rams to go into a silent count.
Yeah, if you recall, Jalen Carter had 2 sacks last game. I was partially responsible for those 2 sacks because
were you in the crowd?
I was in the crowd, and Jalen Carter pointed out that they had to go to a silent count, and they were able to figure out their snap count in the second half, which gave him a nice jump, which helped lead to one of his better games. I mean, besides the fact that the Eagles are the more rested team here, coming off the Thursday game. And kind of a similar travel situation. Rams also coming from the East Coast. They're flying, back to LA, but the Eagles get a little extra rest. They're gonna have the home crowd. Nothing jacks this team up more than winning on the West Coast with the Eagles fan base kind of taking over the stadium, which I predict will happen. I was almost insulted that Ryan said, "Do you think the Eagles will have more fans at the stadium?" And obviously, I like the Eagles matchups. Because I think what the Rams do the best is stuff that the Eagles can counter, right? So on the defensive side, they have a bunch of young studs on the defensive line that can cause some problems. I think that's probably their strength. And then you're going up against the Eagles offensive line, which now that you got Jordan Mailata left tackle healthy, are really good at protecting the quarterback there. I think Jalen Hurts could get loose here for a little running action. Drake May had a few nice carries there against the Rams. AJ Brown. I mean, the Eagles win every game with AJ Brown and put up 30 points. Now, will that streak continue come Sunday night? I like their chances. Nick Sirianni with a little extra time to prepare. That's good. But really on the defensive side is where I think their matchups are kind of the best. This Eagles secondary is legit 5th in defensive DVOA, and they've done a very good job in the secondary locking down some pretty good receivers. Terry McLaurin, Jamar Chase, like these young cornerbacks, the young secondary They're creating turnovers. They're limiting explosive plays, and that's how the Rams have to win these games is with big plays by their receivers. And I think the Eagles do a good job of countering that. So Devonta Smith a little banged up with the hammy. It could be an interesting Goddard props game. We'll probably get into that more, but yeah, this is a good spot for the Eagles. Lay the number on the Eagles, and they need this game if they want to try and compete for the number 1 seed with Detroit. If they lose this, their path to getting the number 1 seed is pretty cooked.
I also, when I was digging into this game, I Googled McVay Fangio, and I read a number of quotes from Sean McVay over the years talking about how much he hates going against Vic Fangio's defense. Well,
I heard from a lot of people that Fangio's washed up. They've got the defense figured out, and the defense has been a great surprise.
It feels like you're dancing in a situation where I don't think they've solved. I don't necessarily know if it's solved. So I wouldn't start dancing around like victory lapping.
You would say the Eagles defense has exceeded your expectations, right? I mean, they've exceeded mine.
They've definitely played well over the last couple of games. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think since the bye, they've played well.
Yeah, like maybe last 3 or 4 games, they're certainly trending in the right direction. This will be not the toughest test though.
Went into Cincinnati, held the Bengals to 17 points.
I mean, so did the Giants. I don't. That's not like.
Well, in Cincinnati, held the Giants to 3 points.
Okay.
Held the Cowboys to 6 points.
Yeah, I'm just saying they haven't been
held the highest scoring offense in the Commanders to 18 points, and 8 of that was garbage.
Again, I don't know if I would be victory lapping the Fangio scheme not completely cooked. I think they've played well over the last couple of games.
But I think if it was cooked, we would have seen more cracks in the defense by now. Would be my point.
Sure, they've just had a relatively easy slate of offenses recently.
Okay, so you like the Rams?
No.
All right.
I just highlighted you're like a child with this stuff.
How am I a child?
I was highlighting that McVay has spoken about how he does not like to go against Vic Fangio's defense.
Maybe
I also think Vic Fangio's defense has grown old and isn't as successful in the league as it once was. Okay. I don't like the Rams in this spot. I don't like the Rams in general. Not high on them as a team.
But the Fangio defense has been really good for this Eagles team this year. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, I just said the last couple games against easier opponents, they've looked good. So yeah, but I'm just telling you to not victory lap it as if
I think their defense is really good.
It's an elite unit in the NFL.
5th in defensive DVOA.
Sure. Moving along.
I just want you to compliment the defense.
Yeah, they've looked good against easier opponents. I agree.
The Commanders aren't an easy opponent.
Banged up Jaden Daniels. It's a Cliff Kingsbury offense now halfway through a season. Okay. I'm just saying.
But who do they have to play where you would go, all right, their defense is good.
It's not about who they have to play. If they continue this, they're a good defense.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's not a binary thing. There are shades of gray, and I'm saying,
but cooked feels pretty binary, right? When you're saying you thought Fangio's defense is cooked, that's a 0. I'm saying it's much closer to a 1.
I said I think the scheme is cooked.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think they're disproving that theory so far this season.
In a relatively small sample size, they've played well. Yes.
The entire season. They had one. The defense had one bad game.
We're halfway through a season. They've played good in half of that. That's a quarter. Relatively small sample size. I'm taking the Eagles for the record.
I mean,
you're really getting sensitive. This isn't quite Bo Nix levels, but
no, you're just kind of hating on it.
Look, if the Rams come out here and pound the rock and dink and dunk, and Puka's too physical for the cornerbacks of the Eagles,
yeah, then I'll say bad pick. I'm bummed.
Okay. You know what? Switch me to the Rams. Switch me over to the Rams here.
All right, I like it.
Hopefully, Kyron Williams has a game.
Good luck against the Eagles defensive line.
Oh, I love it. Getting the full 3 points too. It's never closing. It's never getting back there.
Oh, you need that extra half point, Ryan.
Monday Night Football.
Wow. So wait, do you want to expand on why you like the Rams?
Nope. Just I'm going against you since it's just to make it easier.
All right.
It's just cleaner. And maybe we can have some sort of competition this week because we disagree on a lot of picks. Monday Night Football, boy, Sean, I cannot wait for the Manning cast as we get Harbaugh on Harbaugh. The one from the East Coast now, John, he's taking his squad, the Ravens. They're laying 2.5 here, -144 on the money line. Little back-to-back road spot for the Ravens. And coming off a very physical game against the Pittsburgh Steelers where they were hitting. Chargers +126 here, back to having a home crowd for the first time ever in Los Angeles. 51 is the total. I mean, normally I would ask you like, hey, is this potentially a spot where maybe the Ravens could be looking ahead to the Eagles? Of course not. Two brothers playing. And boy, I don't think at the beginning of the year I thought that like unequivocally the Chargers would have a huge home edge here. And in my mind, I understand the Ravens are good. I understand the Ravens, and by a lot of people's power numbers, are the best team in the NFL. But how can you make them how can you make them a favorite here? This Chargers team, they're going to have a plan for Lamar. They're going to learn from what the Steelers did, first of all, because if you go back and watch the tape, I pulled up the rare for me this year, but brought up the end zone film from that game, Sean. Their plan is not complicated.
No,
get Lamar to roll out to the wrong way.
Yeah.
I don't know why more teams don't do this, but I'm certain they'll have a plan for that. I also like the idea that Greg Roman's going to have some ideas about how to attack this defense.
No, I mean, obviously Greg Roman built up Lamar, and you know the offense he built for him was a big part of Lamar's success, and obviously Lamar's had success without him. But I think let's just start with
but even forget that. Just like like their defensive scheme has changed over the years. But the general principles of what they're doing and how they're attacking, to me,
the teams that know how to play Lamar do well against Lamar. Why does he have that awesome record against the NFC? Because they don't know how to play Lamar. Why does he struggle in the playoffs? Oh, because there's a whole season of film on how to play Lamar. Why does he struggle with the Steelers? Because they're a well-coached team with a bunch of film and a bunch of tendencies that they know how to play Lamar. Greg Roman knows how to play Lamar. Even the Staley team held the Ravens to only 20 points last year. And then let's just talk about this Ravens defense. They have a ton of ways you can get exploited. Both they're bad against the tight end, they're bad against the receiver. Justin Herbert, like the confidence is through the roof right now. It's not a letdown spot for the Chargers. Ravens second in the league with most receiving yards allowed to the tight end, so it could be another good spot here for Disley. Like the only thing that to me is intriguing about taking the Ravens is the Ravens off a loss, but I think this is kind of where the Ravens might spiral a little bit. This is an incredibly tough spot, a back-to-back road spot going on to the West Coast against a well-coached team, and they just tackle well. I think they're going to have a formula for Derrick Henry. They're going to have a formula for Lamar, and this Chargers defense has been really pretty good. They did get beat a couple times by Jamar Chase, T Higgins there, but I feel like part of that was they got up so big they didn't know what to deal with the lead. The fact that they got that sorted out, I think, is a huge step up for them. But yeah, I mean, Ravens again on the after a loss is not a spot I love to be on, but you got to take the Chargers and the points here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm way off on some of these games.
Dick Puncher
feels very obvious.
Dick Puncher pointing out the best team in the NFL in quotes doesn't lose to both the Raiders and the Browns. Yeah, 100%.
But they do. This team they drop like 3 fucking shit games.
Yeah, and they're 7-4. One of my I think when we did the Ravens team preview, I had them 10-7. Obviously, I didn't feel great about it earlier in the season when it's like, just give Lamar the MVP. The season's over. But now look at these last 6 games. Can you guarantee they're going to get to 4 wins? At Chargers, Eagles at home, at Giants, that's a win. Steelers at home, at Texans, and then Ravens at home. Like, I mean, the Ravens and the Browns and Giants, you could pretty much give them, but there's a lot of toss-up games in between there. And if they went, 1-4 in those toss-up games and ended up finishing out 3-4, or sorry, 3 and they went 1-2 in the toss-up games and finished 3-3. I don't think that's crazy at all.
Yeah. I mean, we were both on the under 10.5.
Yeah. Which I thought was cooked earlier in the season. But now, like some of the stuff we were talking about, their issues with their offensive line, that's kind of popping its head up. Justin Tucker, the kicking game, which with a spread that's 2.5, that could matter. I'm not crazy for saying Justin Tucker is costing them games.
All right, if we think they're losing this game,
yeah,
what are the chances they miss the playoffs?
Well, I'd have to look at the AFC playoff standings in front of me, but I mean, the Broncos are at 6-5 right now, but again, only one game difference, and they do have 2 games. I would almost definitely get them a win. So I do think they, at very least, they win 9, but I don't know if they get to 11. I do think they end up being a wild card team right now, and obviously, if you think they go on a run, sure, maybe play the division. This is probably going to be the best price you'll get.
So so 9-2. You have the Chiefs 9-1. You have the Bills 9-2. You have the Steelers 8-2. Then you have the Chargers 7-3, Ravens 7-4, Texans 7-4, Colts 5-6, Broncos 6-5, and the Dolphins 4-6. So they would need one of these other teams to get going. But I was thinking about that. If we think they're losing this weekend, do we snag a little Ravens to miss the playoffs?
And what was the price of missed playoffs?
I went to go pull it up and they don't have the Ravens listed.
I'll pull up the Circa app. Maybe they got it there.
But could this team possibly slide out of the playoffs? That feels like unlikely.
Yeah, I think because they probably get to 9 and they have some conference wins, they'll get in. Plus the committee likes them a lot. Oh wait, sorry, that's the other bullshit. That's professional. We settle it with games on the field. I know, novel concept. Sorry, just a little fun dig at college football.
All right, here we go. Right now, the Ravens to miss the playoffs is 12-1. All right, I'm rethinking my. I mean, if they.
Well, how about this? What does that price go to if they lose this game against the Chargers?
It's got to drop in half,
right? they win the Browns and the Giants game, so I think they get in it, even if they lose all the other games.
The mechanical parlay is probably right around plus whatever, the plus 126, probably fair price. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Chargers. It's an absolutely fabulous teaser leg.
Really? See, I don't think it's a good teaser leg because I think they're going to win this game outright. So, thus making it a bad teaser leg by my mind.
You think one Harbaugh is going to blow out the other Harbaugh? Get the fuck out of here.
No, but I think you're going to win, and then you wouldn't need the points.
Yeah.
Hence why it's a bad teaser in my mind.
It's a great teaser. I mean, it's also a great bet. And potentially a great please.
But to me, if you, I saw someone tweeted out a 8-team 5-point teaser.
Oh wow!
And he got it. He won. I think it returned 11-1. Nice hit. Congrats. But he also would have went 8-0 as a parlay. So
we'll do both. Then do both.
That's if you're gonna. Yeah, I mean,
some people just like teasers, Sean. All right. 6 teams on bye, by the way.
6 teams on bye.
6 teams on bye this week and 6 teams on bye week 14. Roger Goodell does not give a fuck about fantasy football.
No, he doesn't. Doesn't care for it.
Doesn't realize it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
I'm with him though. Hey, you know who else I'm with? Rhythm, aka the sponsor of the Lock, Dog, and Tease. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. My model and the Rhythm model both like the Eagles laying 3 points in Los Angeles. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Great for NFL props, college football side and totals, NFL side and totals, college basketball, and NBA as well. NBA props. So really try it out. Give it a shot. You got the old Sean Green recommendation. It's 7 days. It's free. If you're feeling, hey, this isn't helping, then cancel it. It's no big deal. But I think once you have this, as I think of it as a good tool in your toolkit, and you build your own models. They'll build you models when you start seeing some consensus between the models. For me, it's great to have that extra, like, okay, the data, but I'm not going to actually crunch the numbers. I'm more of a gut guy, but it's good to know you can fall back on the data in case it's close, and a good place to get started too. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Kramer, do you want to go first?
Breaking news. Jordan Love fans are letting me know that Daniel Jones is QB4.
Really?
These Jordan Love fans are amazing. You still think Daniel Jones is better than Jordan Love? I think it's close.
Shout out to D Bettis. Said our picks were bad the past couple of weeks. Meanwhile, you and I, Ryan, have both been 17-11 ATS. So we've been doing pretty good. D Bettis
is talking shit.
He does like playing some crazy multi-leg parlay teasers that he sends me screenshots. If you recall, his son. I don't know how it works legally, but his son went on an incredible run picking some parlay teaser cards. So
yeah, we got that's the kid we locked up for a little NIL deal when he gets to the right age. You know?
So shout out to the Bettis family, dominated the books. But Ryan, on a decent run here, last 5 weeks out in the circa million, 16-9. So
would you like to go first?
Would I like to go first? I feel like I'm in a good spot going second, but right. your lock streak did cool off, so I was giving you the option.
Not worried at all about my lock streak.
Okay.
Sometimes you hit a bump in the road. I mean, again, what's the overall total?
Your locks have been really good this year.
Since week 5, what do we got?
Little data framing.
14 and 18.
59% on your locks. We're 54% on your circa million. So. What professional gamblers are 53%? We're beating those quote unquote pros 54%.
Yeah, locks are 13-9 overall. If you want to zoom all the way out, Sean, that's zoomed out. Lock number 1, Arizona Cardinals.
No.
Lock number 2,
could feel that one coming.
Green
a mile
Bay Packers.
Away. Whoa! Now I knew you were going to be on the pack, but to lock it up, Ryan, you're going to have to break bread. Ryan Kramer. Maybe there is hope for this divided nation, the red and blue. If Ryan Kramer can reach across the aisle and select the Packers as his lock.
Oh, it's easiest locks of the season. Dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I do tend to agree with you. There's a lot of underdogs I've taken that would be a too cute angle. And I know I'm not going to pick Tommy DeVito here. So I'm left with only a couple options. And to me, the options that are most appealing are the divisional home dogs.
Okay.
And while I am worried about Caleb Williams, this is an insane price to take the Chicago Bears at home against the dome team with a quarterback that's throwing interceptions. Sam Darnold's on the slide down. Some people believe the Vikings still are in the hunt for the playoffs. To me, they're on the way out. And like the Bears here, money line +163.
There you go. Nice juicy dog. What do you got for your teas, Kramer?
All right, Houston -1.5.
Okay.
Miami -1.5. Chargers +8.5. That's how you tease. Considered putting the Commanders -4 in there.
That's a good. It's a good tease. It's also a good straight up bet. All right, for me, I think I'm going to keep it fairly chalky here. This Cowboys team is so bad. Give me the Washington Commanders laying 10 points, and then.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you like the Cowboys there, Ryan?
No. I just didn't see that coming.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much. They're so bad, and I mean, think about it. Like the 7.5 on Monday night.
Are you reacting to regretfully not fading the Jags last week?
The Jags or the Cowboys?
No, the Jags. Like just not playing against a bad team just because it's a big number.
Yeah, and double-digit favorites have been pretty good this year. Could lock up the Chiefs. That feels pretty good. could lock up the Broncos as well. They're pretty interesting. Titans are intriguing.
Can't lock up the Broncos.
Why not?
It's just a big number for Bo Nix.
All right, Denver -6. And for my dog,
I don't know why I did that. Sure, don't want to lock up the Chargers.
I do like the Chargers a lot. I'll put the Chargers. Is that a big enough dog? It's 126.
It's a dog.
Yeah, I'll go Charger. But the dog. I do think the Patriots are kind of frisky. You don't, because I feel like we were talking in the office, and I go, I think the Pats can win outright. Yeah. And you go, I'm going to find myself on the Pats a lot, and then you Benedicted for the show. Well, you left me hanging with this Drake May back.
No, I just realized that last week it did not feel good to be in that spot. And 2, I was reminded how Tua beats bad teams. Tua covers against bad teams. Period. So unfortunately, that's how I came back around. And it's in Miami.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna play it, but officially, this Chargers team, man, that video we had of Decker singing the fight song, they got great mojo, and I'm looking to fade the Ravens here as well.
Is Decker going to be at this game? That's what we need to find out.
Oh, I don't know. He went to the last game.
He's definitely going to be there.
All right, for my tease,
basically like sex for him.
Houston -1.5. Great tease opportunity there. I'm already locking up the Broncos. No need to. Do you tease the Arizona Cardinal? Oh, you know what? Never mind. Tampa Bay also in lock consideration. There for a pick. That's the easy money. And then, yeah, I do think there's a case to be. Yeah, KC down to 5. Let's go. All right, interesting spot here for our circa million. We'll just auto fill in the locks, Ryan. Arizona versus pick, Washington -10, Green Bay -2, Denver -6. I really like the Chargers. I'm also cool with the Bears. I think you can make a pretty good case for both good dogs, both plays we agreed on. Other stuff that we agreed on that we don't have on the card. Houston -7.5. It's chalky, but I like that. Indy +7.5. Steelers -3.5. What are we doing on the last 5 spot?
I think it's either Indy or Chicago. I would lean Chicago.
Really? You don't want to put the Chargers in there?
Oh wait, yeah. Let's put. I would say one of those 3 dogs.
Okay,
I'll let you pick the dog.
Well, I mean, Chargers are my dog, so I feel like we got to put them in there on the card. Chargers +2.5, but Chargers, Bears, Colts, moneyline round robin, kind of intriguing. Do you think, is it too crazy that Indy is a live dog? They're definitely a team that's gonna.
I just don't see Detroit losing. I will say I completely understand why people are flocking to the Colts.
Yeah,
but you could also. I don't know. You know, I'm not looking to get crazy involved in this one because there is also the version where Anthony Richardson goes back to not really wanting to run and he fucking sucks at passing. And for whatever reason, Dan Campbell's just stepping on dudes' throats. So I would say no money line on that one for me. But the other 2, I think Chicago's a fun money line. Certainly the Chargers fun money line.
Yeah, no, Chargers, Colts. I might even get the Dolphins in there as well. Shout out to Raisbeck 7. If I wake up at 6 a.m. Ireland time, I have the chance to catch the end of the show. Nice. LFG. Salute to you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. Would love to know what part of Ireland you're from. My family hails from Donegal.
Oh wow. I think I'm going to be playing the NFL slot machine as the Panthers.
The slot. How's the slot?
And if things go well, I'm taking the profits and putting it on the money line.
All right. So maybe you'll get an NFL slot update. Tune into the VSiN show, 11 o'clock East, VSiN.com or YouTube TV. Those are 2 easy ways to watch it. Of course, tune into our prop show tomorrow afternoon with the great CJ Sullivan. That's going to be a lot of fun. Toss us a nice rating review. We went to war. People really enjoyed us roasting that guy who turns out he hosts a dynasty Fantasy Podcast. Yes, we tracked down your username, and then Kramer copy and pasted his review and left it on the Dynasty Nerds podcast.
Oh,
and it was very
it would be a
obvious.
shame if other people left bad reviews.
Yeah.
on the
Hashtag
podcast.
clean the leans. Hashtag don't go after SGPN. You're crazy. Hey, get creative. Messing up their reviews. That feels more than fair. But it was very obvious, Ryan, because we used his username, and that username also left a ton of positive reviews for the Dynasty Nerds podcast. And where he crossed the line and really slipped up was he left a very long positive review, and then also included a plug for the Patreon, saying, "Hey, make sure you sign up."
Yeah, they got like a subscription service on their website.
Yeah, sign up for the Nerd Herd, and then you get access to all the bonus episodes. You won't regret it, dude. You can't sound like a commercial if you're pretending to review your own show.
Yeah, as someone who's written a review for my own show before.
Yeah, just go. Hey, great spot.
Cool hang.
Evangelos pointing out we said lean. Well, it's
Who said
hashtag
lean?
clean the leans.
What do you mean?
No,
Who's
we
leaning?
must have.
Did you lean?
Said, leans. I didn't drop any L bombs.
We lean into stuff.
Yeah.
We don't lean when picking.
Yeah.
We lean into initiatives like cleaning the leans.
Exactly.
We've leaned into cleaning the leans.
Making Bacon, favorite New Zealand butcher, asking, is the VSiN show available on Spotify? Yeah, not through our feed. You would have to go find the VSiN feed, but you head over to VSiN.com. They have the replays up. If you want to subscribe, I think you use a promo code SGP, get a nice bonus there. But if you have NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV, you probably already have the VSiN channel. You may not know. So
you know what? We'll start sharing it. I think it's also dropped as a podcast. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's on Spotify.
Yeah, we'll start sharing the link on the @Gambling Podcast.
There you go.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Go Pack, go.
Kramer. Let it ride.